Hi, friends. Full morning here at Holloway Central. Had several sessions this morning, just bang, 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 all kind of stacked into my schedule. And as often is the case, it's like I get more energized with each one. There's something really satisfying about feeling like I'm doing work that's literally feeding me energy as I do it. Doesn't mean I don't maybe, need a glass of water when it's all over, but it's a pretty cool experience and I'm super grateful for it. One of the things that showed up in the middle of all of this was a conversation with one of my clients, students, who is in the middle of manifesting a really beautiful project, really beautiful expression of her reality, of how she sees the world and how she feels called to serve. And we were talking about how you get access, how you really find the people who are going to resonate with what it is you are doing as a teacher, as a coach, as a mentor, whatever your thing is. How do you find those people? And this is something I've spent a fair amount of time agonizing over that question and many related questions, and it's one that in some ways is still, even though I feel like I've done a fair amount of really good work in this area, it's still one where I can identify a reluctance in myself to draw lines of exclusion. In other words, saying what I do is not for X people. It's not for this group. It is for this group. It's not for however I'm defining my demographic of who I think will really resonate with me and who I'm most interested in serving. And we were chatting about this on the call today, and it showed up for my client as well. There's something almost threatening about about having someone ask you to narrow down whom you serve. There's something almost, at least, and I'm not speaking for my client now, I'm speaking for myself. There's something almost threatening about the notion that I would say, I do this for so-and-so. And what I've been reflecting on today, and this is also very relevant to where I am right now in a variety of other projects in my life. I don't want to say it's not for certain people because A, I feel like I might be wrong about that. B, I don't like the idea of excluding anybody. And C, doing so really kind of forces me to define what it is I'm doing in a way that may be challenging. It challenges me to have clarity and have specificity in a way that if I don't already have that, there can be the sense that that's somehow threatening, or the sense that that somehow diminishes what it is that I do, or that we do. Now, the good news is I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that that is not the case. There's nothing being threatened by creating that specificity. If anything, it's elevating to all. It's elevating to the work I do. It's elevating to me, and it's elevating to the people I actually end up serving. Because surprise, surprise, I'm unlikely to serve every human being on planet Earth. I'm gonna get a handful. so and just it kind of admitting that there's a contour to what I actually provide, and what we actually provide is sometimes it's a healthy thing, even if it feels really either difficult and hard to come up with the right answer, or if it feels like I know in myself, I almost go into protest. I start protesting. No, I don't have to define it that way. Well, when I sort of, usually when that reactive impulse is able to subside a little bit, I recognize, oh, no, of course I do. Of course I have to define it. Of course, I've already defined it. I just may not have consciously defined it, and I may not have what I'm saying externally may not be in alignment with what I sort of know inwardly. And there may be reasons for that. There may be things I'm guarding or protecting about what I do that would create a greater vulnerability in me if I were to admit sort of publicly in the external, this is what I really do and this is who it's really for, and here's why that's the case. That creates a deeper vulnerability, and there's a beautiful concept which I believe I've spoken about in a post quite some time ago. A woman named Priya Parker wrote a book called The Art of Gathering, and it's an amazing book. I've probably talked your ear off about it back when I was reading it, I don't know, 6 or 9 months ago. She talks about the various principles and the various factors that go into creating a successful gathering, which can be anything from 3 friends getting together for movie night to a wedding to a business conference to a political rally, whatever brings people together, framing the factors that go into creating a successful gathering. She has some really incredible insights into human nature and culture throughout the book. One of the things she talks about is the concept of generous exclusion, which essentially means, in her case, gatherings, in our case, the group of people we intend to serve, if we don't exclude from that group, then we're actually serving no one. So the generous half of that term is designed to indicate that the exclusion of certain people is not a kind of banishing or in any way a kind of selfish or negative keeping out. It's simply understanding whom we really serve and being willing to say that and say, here's where that ends in a concrete way, saying that in ways that don't end up being so vague as to kind of not really being able to define a boundary. That's one of the pitfalls I know I've fallen into and that we can fall into in this work is we draw a boundary, but the boundary will be something like people who are really into doing inner work. Well, okay, maybe there are some people who would sort of class themselves as, no, I don't like to do inner work. But how is that established? Does that give us criteria that we can identify by looking, or is that sort of a way of pretending we have a boundary when we really don't? So that this idea of generous exclusion is actually owning the notion of inclusion in order to be inclusive, we're still throwing a membrane. We're still throwing, the net. There's a net that is thrown around a body of anything to include those things has a surface, and outside of that there is exclusion, and letting that be okay, and actually understanding that as a generous act is it can be helpful for people like me, and maybe anybody else out there who resonates with this, at being willing to make distinctions, and being willing to say, no, here's who I really am, here's whom I serve, here's whom I don't serve, because I know myself. Another great friend of mine once said, all work can ultimately take us into the deeper work. All work becomes a portal into the work of spiritual practice, of genuine depth, genuine, reckoning with life, reckoning with our ultimate self. All work can do that. We can do it we can go through the pinhole of finance, or the pinhole of music, or the pinhole of theater, or literally any professional or personal interest or context can be the thing that just we leap into the pool. We start practicing the craft, and bam, all of a sudden we're in the big field, asking the big questions, looking at the deepest possible aspects of ourselves. So even that exclusion, even that generous exclusion, ultimately is not a limitation for the kind of work we can do. It's simply deciding, what door are we going to get through? What door are we going to go through to enter that work? And having a clearly definable door that's specific and small and clear and specific enough to be identifiable as not the rest of the doors, right? If I want to know, okay, all these millions of doors are going to go into the infinite. Okay, which door are you going to go through? How can I choose? There's a million doors. Yeah, but they all go to the infinite. Doesn't matter. Just pick one. But do they all go to the infinite the same? Does it take the same length of time? What is the infinite the same on the other end of it? What about the journey to the infinite? Oh man, I'm stumped. I don't know which, right? So we could get totally frozen deciding which door to enter the universe through. But all that time, we're kind of waiting to enter the universe, and any door will do. But how do you pick one door? By saying, I'm going through that one. But what about this? Nope. Right? You have to say yes to one door, you have to say no to a million doors. So the negation, the act of negation is in some ways more overwhelming than the act of affirmation. It's the saying no. We have to say no to more than we get to say yes to. And I think that might be sometimes what feels threatening about this, is we're always, if we're making a choice, we're saying no to an almost infinite amount of opportunities, whereas we're only saying yes to one, or a small subset of opportunities. So hence the kind of feeling of threateningness in making a choice like that. It's vital. It's vital. Everything comes down to that willingness to say, I'm going through that door. Here I go. I'm not looking. I have decided to go this way. It's big. It's big, and if we know that it may feel threatening, and that the exclusion part of the process may be really it may feel unpleasant. Our mind may rebel and start giving us reasons why this is a horrible idea or why we can't possibly be making the right choice, why we shouldn't have to exclude, it's because of that. It's because we're separating out infinity from our particular path. So, yeah, it's a big one. Much love, folks. Have a great day. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.